What's up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a great Friday today. I know this live is a little bit later than usual, but here we are. We made it. As always, I will give people a few minutes to get into the stream, say hello, get acquainted. We will go over our wins for the week, and then we will be talking about that phone call and kind of everything that has happened since then in between all that, between Jessie and Gabby. So if you are in here, say hello. Audrey said, oh, I came running. Hi, Audrey. I'm glad you're here. Unclassically Ashley said, hey, B. Hi, Lil Breezy Brazil. Hello. Hi, Olive Thunderbird. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a good Friday. Let's go ahead and get some wins for the week out there. Tell me what your win is. Maddie said, so happy I made it to alive. I'm happy you made it too. My win, I'll say it straight out the gate. My husband is picking up the kids from daycare and taking them out to eat so I can do this live. Typically with Fridays, I try to do it like right after work. That way I can do it before he gets home, before we have to go get the kids, and then we can like spend the evening together. But he really wanted to get the house clean, so we decided to clean it before I came on, and now he's gonna go pick them up and take them out. So the fact that like my husband is very supportive of me doing this and it takes the effort to do that so I can have something that I really value is such a win. Love it. Okay. For Aviedo said, hi, finally catching up with a live after a while. Yay, I'm glad you were here. Emily said, I made it. You're my win for the week, girl. Oh my god, thank you. That's so nice. I'm so happy you're here. Hi, Darnellville. How are you? Audrey said, win for the week. Got through the first round of interviews for a tutor job. That's awesome. Olive Thunderbird said, I'm on vacation for my wedding in 8 days. I also picked up my altered wedding dress and it fits great. That is so exciting. Caitlin said, hey, B, hi. All right, I'm so glad you guys are here. I know that like I'm not great at like announcing it before. I don't know the last time I announced before I would do a live, so I'm really glad that you guys are here and hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and give another minute. I know y'all are on a little bit of a delay, so I'll give y'all another minute to get your wins in, and then we'll get started. I'm gonna try to do it before like the 5-minute mark to keep it concise. Maddie said, my win for the week is my hubby and I got to have lunch together before he went to work. That's so nice. That's so nice. Oh gosh, when was it? I don't know. I remember there was a time where I was off work, but my husband was working. We usually try to take our vacations together, but I got to meet him while he was at work on lunch, and it's just so nice when you can meet up and have a little time together. So I'm very happy that you got to do that. Lucy said, I love my new job. Such a win. Most of us need to work. Like, we have to have jobs. And so if you can have a job that you like, that is awesome. I'm trying this new White Claw flavor. It's blackberry. I'm usually a Truly girl, but Rick brought these home. It's not bad. All right. So let's go ahead. If any wins come in after I get started. Oh, we got one. Oh, Emily said, just wanted to say, I think win for the week is such a fun thing you do. It's so great to hear positivity from everyone. Well, thank you for that. And I totally agree. I feel like we talk a lot about like drama and like negative things, and especially on the internet, just kind of in general. Most of the time, good things aren't necessarily being brought up, or like good things on a more personal scale kind of get glossed over. And so I just love hearing everybody's positive thing that happened. There's always good that you can find. And so I love that you guys participate and that you enjoy sharing your wins, and we can all congratulate each other. So if any other wins come in after I get started talking, make sure you celebrate our little friends in here. And Caitlin said, oh, I just found out that I'm pregnant with my first today. I think I'm about a month along. Wow, that is so exciting. Oh my gosh, your first kid. Oh my gosh. Kona said, win for the week is finish an art piece that, to be honest, has become one of my personal faves of my own work. Yay, that's awesome. That is so cool. Okay, let's get started. So Give me a 1 if you've heard the full 3-hour phone call between Jessie and Gabbie, and give me a 2 if you have not. I personally listened to the entire phone call, and when I say that, like, I felt enraged, I was very upset. Like, to the point where I had to stop listening at a few points. And usually, like, internet stuff really doesn't get me that mad. Somebody commented on one of my last videos where I was like, I'm just exhausted from being enraged. Somebody was like, your enraged looks like my slightly annoyed. But to me, in that moment, like, I felt enraged. This call, whoo, got me good. Okay, you guys, most of you haven't listened to it. Okay. It's bad. Like, it's just so bad. So I'm not sure if you guys saw the video that Gabbie posted, like, leading up to it, but she linked it in a video where she came out, just straight up said, Jessie's my abuser. She's been abusing me. She's been blackmailing. She's made threats of physical violence. And I recorded this phone call because I knew that she would be making her own recording, and she would use it against me. And so I recorded it, like, getting her consent, because I'm in a 2-party consent state, so that way I could have backup and she couldn't manipulate it. Jessie's upset that, like, I spoke to Curtis, but I heard him out. He is a human being. I rewatched that video today, and again, after watching Jessie's video response to Gabbie leaking the entire phone call, so many things were just like, it's like, have you ever seen somebody do something? Like, think about it this way. Have you ever seen a stranger on the street drop their garbage on the sidewalk and then said, hey, that's littering. You might want to consider throwing that in the trash can down the road. And they say, I didn't drop that. That's not my garbage. Why would you think that that was my garbage? Like, that's what it felt like. Like, you've seen things with your own eyes, and then somebody is coming in and telling you, no, that didn't happen. That's not how it went. You shouldn't be upset that I'm littering. Like, does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Because Gabbie's talking about how, like, Jessie's a monster. She's an abuser. But Curtis, who literally raped somebody, is a human being who deserves to be heard out. What? Like, the thing is, Curtis signed a plea deal. Like, he did not have, I almost got a little bit vulgar, he did not have the stones to go to trial and say, I absolutely did not rape her. He knew he did. He knew he assaulted her. He knew he raped Jessie. And so that's why he signed a plea. But he's a human being who deserves to be heard out? Are you joking? Are you kidding me? Maddie said, my husband and I were enraged too. Couldn't believe how little Jessie got to talk honestly. Right? Emily said, to say Jessie was her abuser while literally exploiting Jessie's story about her actual abuser just shows how disconnected from reality Gabbie is. 100%. Olive Thunderbird said, from the clips I've heard, Gabbie talks over Jessie constantly. Audrey said, there is no allegedly in this case. He was convicted. End of story. Yeah. And, like, people want to hang on to this whole thing of, like, oh, well, she didn't go to trial. They didn't go to trial. Why wouldn't she want him to go to trial? She does not have a choice in that. She files a complaint, and then the state decide, and maybe not the state. I think so, though. Like, the prosecutor or the district attorney decides how they're going to handle the case. They can take her input, but if the DA doesn't want to take it to trial, if they're fine with a plea deal, then that's it, right? I mean, that's from my understanding. In my understanding of how this all works, it's not necessarily up to her how it gets resolved. She can just file the complaint and, like, make her statement to the police, and then they handle it, is from what I know. But, yeah, so that's what she basically said in the video, and then she linked the full phone call. And while I think Gabbie has every right to have removed a certain section of it, because she said, like, there's a certain section where we talk about something terrible that happened to me, I don't want it out there. I'm not comfortable with it. That's the only thing I cut. Other than that, it's just like names muted out. Like, totally fine. 100% respect Gabbie's desire to have privacy in that and to not release it, like that specific section. But at the same time, entire 3+ hour phone call all about Jessie's trauma. And sure, Jessie put it out there in Gabbie's words. Oh, you don't want people to talk about your trauma? Don't put it out there. Don't make me have to talk about your trauma. But it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, it seemed a little bit hypocritical. I mean, when Jessie released the sections of the call that she released, there was never anything about, like, Gabbie's trauma or Gabbie's situation that she didn't want spoken about. It was basically showing, in a condensed version, the fact that Gabbie was constantly talking over her, Gabbie was demanding an NDA, and Gabbie wanted a public apology. Like, those are things that, like, not the NDA, but wanting apologies and, oh, I'm always giving apologies, but I've never received one. It's kind of chaotic. Like, those are things Gabbie, for the most part, has spoken about publicly. And so it's not like she's revealing a very hurtful thing that happened to Gabbie in those clips. Gabbie just came on and said, I have this one thing that I'm going to keep to myself, but here's everything else that happened. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. Again, she has every right to not release that part because that's personal for her. But it just felt kind of odd. Shelby Lee 24 said that is correct as far as I know. Olive Thunderbird said, yeah, Jessie had no control. She doesn't get to choose what he's charged with or what plea deals are offered. Okay, that's what I thought. But I don't want to, like, say anything wrong because I'm not a professional. Like, I'm not, like, an attorney, or I don't work for the police department or anything like that. Daredevil said, I've heard it. Gabbie is completely out of pocket for how she's treated and treating Jessie. Absolutely. Emily said, it's really concerning that Gabbie says these things with such conviction. She's so confident in what she's saying while actively contradicting herself and lying. It's very interesting. And I've known, like, a few good liars in my time where they say things and, like, the way they say it, it makes you want to believe them because they say it with such conviction. Like you're saying, you know, like, they fully believe it. And I just don't understand how you get to that point where you just fully believe your lies, where you can't take a step back and be like, is this reality, or is this what I'm telling myself to, like, make myself feel better or to avoid taking accountability? I don't know. But yeah, so she released that with the one part retracted. And something that is super interesting in the call that we learned is that Gabbie wants an NDA from Jessie, saying that Jessie will never speak about her publicly again. Like, she'll essentially keep her name out of her mouth. Like, keep Gabbie's name out of Jessie's mouth is what she wants. And Jessie said, I'm totally open to that. I need to talk to an attorney, and I would also like you to sign one. Because as much as Gabbie wants to pretend like she's never spoken on it, she's never done anything, like, Jessie's just been constantly going after her for years in the form of cryptic tweets and, like, liking tweets about Gabbie and, like, making a few videos here and there. I mean, Gabbie, like, wants to hang on to the fact that that Jessie liked tweets about her. And she's like, people know that's about me. I can't believe you would come after me like that. Jessie doesn't like you. She doesn't have to refrain from liking tweets that are negative towards you. It's just a fact of life. That's not, like, a public attack just because she's a public figure and you're a public figure. But anyway, Gabbie doesn't want to sign an NDA because she's like, I have to talk about it. I have to clear my name. Like, if people ask me about it, I need to talk about it so people know what actually happened. Which, first of all, as many people have pointed out, you can decline to comment. Second of all, you want to clear your name, tell the truth. Because what we learned in that phone call, and maybe people knew this before, but it was like a first for me, is that Gabbie made tweets, I knew this, like, made disparaging tweets towards Jessie when news of her rape broke. And later, like, deleted them, retracted them, whatever. She initially kind of thought that Jessie was lying, apparently, because people make false allegations all the time. But the way that Jessie and Gabbie became friends is that Gabbie apologized for making those tweets. She saw Jessie in person, she apologized, Jessie forgave her, and they became friends. But then Gabbie years later wants to come back and say, I never supported Curtis. I never said anything bad about Jessie. I would never publicly bash her. I will never publicly defend Curtis. That did not happen. Y'all are just wrong. And I think she's holding on to the fact of that she never collabed with him, which we've been over this before. Yeah, that was kind of floating around, but I feel like most people were really just upset about the fact that she appeared to publicly support Curtis. Not the fact that she collabed or that she ditched her best friend for her rapist. Like, it was mostly about the initial support of Curtis and not believing Jessie initially. And so Jessie literally says, that makes you a rape apologist. Like, the fact that you tweeted those things when you heard about my rape. It does. And yeah, you apologize, but now you're coming back and saying that you never did that. So it completely invalidates the apology. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it does. And I've always been, like, more or less team Jessie. Like, I believe Jessie, in the breakdown of their friendship, I've always just kind of liked Jessie more. And so, you know, I've always just kind of had my support leaning towards Jessie. But then when she said that, like, because it is kind of interesting when you think about, like, forgiving somebody and then taking an apology back. It's like, okay, well, what changed? Like, why did you accept it and then go back and, like, be mad about it? But, like, that was, like, a mind-blowing moment of the way she just laid it out. Like, it doesn't matter if you apologize to me because you're denying now that you did that. It was very powerful. Lamb Jenny M said, I thought it was really disturbing when Gabbie accused Jessie of trying to be manipulative. That's something Gabbie would do, not Jessie. Yeah, that was another really interesting part of the phone call where they were talking about the DMs that Gabbie had with a fan who, like, where Gabbie just basically went off and, like, told this fan all these things about Jessie that were incredibly private. And she was like, oh, she said that her grandpa died and that's manipulation because she's getting caught lying and she doesn't want me to go for her as hard as I should. That's so weird. I don't know how bitter or jaded you have to get or how manipulative you yourself have to be to think of tears as manipulation. Like, maybe if you know somebody personally who does that when they cry, like, you're calling them out for something and they start crying, you're like, I know you, I know your patterns, come on. But to a stranger, you don't know them. You don't know that. Somebody who's talking about an assault and crying, that's not being manipulative. That's having an emotional response to something that's really hard to go through. Kiki Yeehaw said, hi B, I can't make the live today, but I'll make sure to watch the replay. Totally cool. As always, this will stay up, so I hope you enjoy the replay. Siobhan said, oh no, how late am I? We're about 20 minutes in. Just short of 20 minutes, kind of. That's one thing I wish YouTube would have is, like, showing. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I've, like, tried to jump in on a few lives, and I can never tell how long they've been on for. And I just wish it was easier to see that. Emily said, if you think that's infuriating, the trash whom I refuse to use the name of is trying to reemerge on Twitter, and I don't even have Twitter. Cody Rants compiled a Google Drive of his tweets that were tweeted and deleted last night or the other night, so we can go over those if y'all want, if you haven't seen them near the end. But, yeah, so wanted the NDA but would not sign one because she has to talk about it. That was the point I was getting to. But if she would just, first of all, she could just ignore it and say, like, I don't want to comment on the situation. But also, if she wants to move on, she needs to address the truth. That maybe she doesn't want to label herself as a rape apologist. I get it. I would not want to label myself that way, but I also would never defend a rapist. However, if she wants to say, I'm not that person anymore. I did those things. I tweeted that. It was not okay. It was unacceptable, and there is no excuse. I have grown since this time. I have learned since this time, and I'm not that person anymore. So I sincerely apologize for the fact that I did it in the past, but it will never happen again. That's what it could be. It doesn't have to be about Jessie. It doesn't have to be about bringing up the trauma and whether or not you heard Curtis out or how you guys became friends after, because at this point, like, cool, you became friends. You're not friends anymore. So, all right, like, talk about what you did and own it. That's the only way you can move on from stuff like this, especially from somebody like Gabbie. That is the only way people will let her move on, is if she fully takes accountability. She can't sweep it under the rug. And she also brought up, like, Alex James, saying, like, Alex was way more friendly with Curtis and, like, actually lived with him, and it's ridiculous to me that, like, you would still be friends with him, but not be friends with me because of this. And I don't think this was the reason that they stopped being friends, but Jessie responded and said, like, Alex has apologized, and he's kept to his word. He's kept to his apology. He feels bad. Just recently, he was expressing how bad he felt and how he was just devastated that he didn't, like, support me in that time. And so, first and foremost, when this first got brought up, I was like, yeah, it's kind of odd that, like, she and Jessie wouldn't be, like, Jessie and Gabbie wouldn't be friends, because this is a thing that really hurt her, like those tweets, but she's friends with Alex, but, like, it's not my trauma, so she can be friends with whoever she wants. Like, I don't get to have an opinion on it. But hearing Jessie say, like, he's continued to apologize, and ever since then, he's been a good friend, it's like, okay, that makes sense. He kept the apology. He didn't take it back or say he never did what we all know he did. Emily said that's why it's called Trauma Gabbie, and she knows that because she refused to talk about her own trauma while arguing with Jessie about hers. Yep. Tamara Shepard said, I don't understand why this is so hard for her to understand. I don't know. I mean, I think honestly, sorry. I think she could understand it if she tried. She just doesn't want to. Like, she doesn't want to have to admit it, in my opinion. Audrey said, the problem is that owning up to any past misdeeds or mistakes is contrary to Gabbie's self-image and desire to be adored by everyone. Yeah, this series that she's done that she hasn't posted, like, since putting that video out about Jessie, it's like she talked about how she wanted her exit from YouTube to, like, be this redemption and, like, see everybody, this is the truth, I'm vindicated. And that's just not going to happen. Like, yeah, we can all agree there are certain situations in which you were wronged, but you also hurt a lot of people. It's not going to happen. That's true. Nessa said, Jessie also said she never considered Alex a best friend like she considered Gabbie. Yeah. Emily said, I mean, she attacked Oscar Wilde for liking a tweet. True. Count Von Lilson said, Gabbie will never admit that she was wrong because she has this delusion of eternal victimhood. It's good to see the discussion around this centering around that and how she manipulates people. Absolutely. Maddie said, I think part of the Alex and, I think a part of the Alex and Gabbie that differs is how each would keep it secret. He was open about it and never pretended to be on one side or the other. Yeah. And he's owned up to it, and he's not retracted that since, so it makes sense. Another thing, in the BuzzFeed article and throughout her most recent series, Gabbie has said she's never once received an apology, and she's always giving apologies, and even, I think even in the video that she posted where she linked the phone call, she said, like, I've never gotten an apology, and you'll hear me apologize multiple times. I'm always apologizing. In that phone call, Jessie apologizes a multitude of times. She does. Like, Gabbie is very much steamrolling the conversation, and so if Jessie tries to, like, interject or interrupt, Gabbie says, don't interrupt me, I'm speaking, like, in a variety of different ways, and you hear Jessie say, sorry, you're right, like, I will let you finish, I'm sorry. And, like, you can even tell at the beginning of the phone call, Jessie just feels so uncomfortable, and she doesn't want this friction, and she's not trying to be rude. She's like, oh my god, sorry, like, you're right, sorry, my bad. And Gabbie just keeps talking and, like, talks over her too. That's the thing. Like, Gabbie will ask Jessie to stop talking because she wants to say something and don't interrupt me while I'm speaking because I'm speaking, but then will interrupt Jessie throughout the entire phone call without any regard for what it was she was saying. Jessie would ask Gabbie questions and be like, well, did this happen or did this not happen? Gabbie would shoot back with another question to avoid having to answer. Gabbie kept making claims about all this evidence she had and proof that she had, and when Jessie said, well, can I see it? Gabbie would say, no. Or she'd be like, I don't know if the lawyers want you to have it. Well, if she said it, like, what would be the harm in her having it? What would be the harm in her having something, like, proof of something that she did? If you're so confident it happened. I don't know. I have no idea. The other thing is, so, in thinking about the conversation, and the way that, like, Gabbie said, I'm not even gonna listen to the conversation. I feel so confident that I never said anything wrong in it. I apologized to Jessie in my Twitter apology, which, let's go over it because she didn't. Like, Gabbie says things that are just provably false. And I want to be very sensitive because I know that she has CPTSD, and, like, I don't know how that can affect your brain, how that can affect your memory combined with the ADHD. I'm sure it is a struggle sometimes to remember things, and I want to be sensitive to that. But I don't understand how you can make claims that are provably false with such conviction, or how you could, like, the fact that they became friends because Gabbie apologized for those tweets. How do you forget that? How do you forget that that's how you became friends and say, I never tweeted stuff like that. I never supported Curtis. I never doubted Jessie. I don't get it. S18C said, I hate that Jessie has to deal with this trauma every time Gabbie decides she wants attention bad enough. I do too, because it's not like some dumb internet fight. It's literally a traumatic event. And it feels like that's the only thing that Gabbie has on Jessie. Because Gabbie says, oh, Jessie was my abuser. Jessie's blackmailed me. The screenshots she put up did not sound like blackmail to me. She threatened physical violence on me, which was one incident of Jessie being mad and texting her that she would knock her teeth out or punch her in the face. I don't remember the exact phrasing. But it's like, look, we've all been mad enough where we thought we wanted, like, where in our head we were like, oh my God, I'm going to punch this person so hard. I'm going to knock your teeth out if you don't shut up. It's not the greatest thing to say, but that does not equate to years of threats of physical violence, right? So, that, Maddie. Maddie said, I found the argument about not wanting Jessie to have certain information ridiculous. If it had gone to court, it would have had to be given to her in discovery. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not even, so with us having, like, kinship kids and being part of an ongoing case, like, anything I submit is available to anybody involved in the case. Like, my phone number, my address, all that is publicly available to those people. If I were to submit something to the judge before a court date, that would go to everyone. When you are involved in a legal battle, everybody gets that info, from what I understand. Like, and I'm not even in a battle. I'm just part of a case because it's, you know, because it's a case with the county that the kids are from. Like, nobody's even, I mean, in trouble, I guess. We're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a court case where somebody is, like, suing somebody for something, but it's just an ongoing case, and so we all have that information. S18C said, not to mention Jessie only got to that point of the angry text thread because Gabbie kept having people, or text threat, because Gabbie kept having people try to get Jessie to talk to her again after she blocked Gabbie's number, right? So in the video that Gabbie posted, like in the last one, she said, like, I publicly apologized to Jessie. And she puts up a screenshot of her Twitter statement. And it says, in regards to Jessie, I have not ever publicly defended or collaborated with Curtis Lepore. You didn't collaborate with him, but you sure called Jessie a liar. Jessie was very publicly my best friend, and he was very publicly her ex/assailant. If that happened, it would be on the internet. There isn't a tweet, screenshot, photo, or video to back any of those claims. Except there is. My only tweet to him was in 2013, 4 months before TMZ broke the story. At that time, I had no way of knowing what was going on. Her and I had not met yet, and I wasn't friends with any of his friends. I heard the news with everyone else. That was not your only tweet to him, because you tweeted on the day TMZ broke the story. Jessie and I had an unrelated falling out at the beginning of 2014. So why is everything centered around this? Because you can admit that you did tweet that. You did tweet things to Curtis. I can answer my own question. At the beginning of 2014, he heard about it, got my number from a friend, and called me to apologize if he was ever rude to me at events. I responded to him that it was kind of him to reach out and that I would never publicly go against Jessie or defend him. He told me he didn't expect me to. Okay. So where in that is you hearing him out? Like, that doesn't seem like a full rundown of the conversation from what you're telling us now. Like, shortly after, Jessie reached out to rekindle a friendship. I told her I'd love that, but wanted to be upfront about the phone call I had with him. I explained that he got my number from a friend and called me. I told her everything that was said, and I told her I had no interest in pursuing any type of friendship with him. So you didn't, because Jessie did not know that you heard him out. And why would you want to hear him out anyway? Like, I truly don't understand that. Because even if I was not friends with somebody, if I knew that they had been assaulted and I knew who did it and they told me who did it and how it happened, because Gabbie knew the details of it. That's why she wanted to hear Curtis's side so she could call him out. But also, he's a human and he deserves to be heard before the court of public opinion makes a judgment. Who cares about the court of public opinion? He signed a plea deal. Like, even this makes me so mad. She thanked me for my honesty and asked for some time to process everything. I told her to take her time. I would be here. Very soon after, the same day I believe, I started getting tweets about having chosen my friend's rapist over her / collabing with my friend's rapist / social climbing, etc. I tried to reach out and was blocked. After that, the only times I've seen him have been in public settings where him and I happen to be in the same place. I have never tried to make plans with him. But you're hanging out with his friends. You're hanging out with people who are friends with a rapist. So that's a choice. And also, with Jessie being like, thank you for telling me I need some time to thinking about it. I need some time to think about it. And then blocking you. Like, you've done some pretty vile stuff to Jessie. You said some pretty hurtful things, and people have said you're not an easy person to talk to. Like, you are not an easy person to confront or work an issue out with because you're very overbearing. And so it is like 100% possible that Jessie felt backed into a corner. She knew she had to respond to you about that and said, let me just appease her. Thank you for telling me. I need some time to think about it. I will reach out to you later. And then panicked and blocked her because she didn't know how to handle somebody as volatile as people have said that Gabbie is. Moving on to the next paragraph. Over the years, Jessie and I have buried the hatchet more times than I can count. We both apologized for everything that's happened between us. I truly thought this was all handled privately, as we've had plenty of civil conversations about life, family, work, etc. Have you ever been friends with somebody who's so, like, dramatic or unpredictable that even if you don't like them, when they reach out to you, you try to be friendly back because you just don't know how to handle it? From my last conversation with her to today, I don't know what happened between us to stir up these feelings. I've always been open to conversations, and I wish she had felt comfortable enough to reach out to me. On my end, it's confusing and heartbreaking because I truly felt we were in a good, or at least civil place. I, from the bottom of my heart, don't remember saying, well, his friends didn't rape you. I don't know the context I would say that in. I don't know at what point our friendship or fallout I would have said that, and I don't know the situation that would come up. However, I do know that I was a very aggressive, angry, defensive person back then. I do know that I was combative and able to spray bullets from my mouth if I felt attacked or hurt. Still can. I do know that I was of the mindset of retaliation and winning, and most of all, I do know that Jessie is and was hurt. Although I don't remember saying it, I can't fully in good conscience say it was never said. For that, I am truly sorry. I don't understand how that's an apology. For that, I am truly sorry. What, that you don't remember saying it? Or that you might have said it? Like, I don't understand how that's an apology to Jessie. For what? For that I am truly sorry. Although I don't remember saying it, I can't fully in good conscience say it was never said. For that I am truly sorry. I don't have the words. I really don't. I can't imagine trying to heal from that type of situation publicly with the world telling you you're a liar, and I can't imagine having someone you trusted say something like that. Jessie, I've seen you hurt over the years, and I've seen you grow and thrive and build a beautiful family over the years. Please know that, as always, I'm wishing you all the love and happiness you deserve. So, again, like, this apology is invalid, because on the 3-hour phone call, she says, I never said that. I just didn't want you to attack me, and so that's why I admitted to it. I never said it, but I said that I might have said it so you would leave me alone. That's not an apology. It's really not. I'm going to hear what y'all have to say. Yeah, S18C said the hypocrisy is crazy. He deserves to be heard out. ... I wanted to catch him in a lie in the same breath. Right? Is he a human being who deserves to be heard? Or are you trying to, like, be on the stealth for your friend who you're not friends with anymore so you can call him out? Nessa said, if my best friend was assaulted and I ever came in contact with her abuser, the only thing that person would be hearing from me is get the away from me. Right. Like, what is there to say to them? I don't understand, because even if like he had a side and your friend had a side and it hadn't gone to court and like the police were not involved, if my friend tells me that happened to her, that happened, or him, if my friend tells me that happened to me, that happened to you, you're my friend. Like, why would I ever be like, well, I want to hear him out because maybe he thought you guys had an agreement? Nope, would not be happening. Oh, Annie said, just sent you some important info about the legal stuff mentioned in the call to your stream. Ah, let's hear it. Let me see. So, Annie says, my husband and I are both attorneys in North Dakota. After listening to this, I am certain Gabbie was never actually consulting with lawyers on this. Annie! This is very cool that you sent this to me right now. Number one, Gabbie says Florida would be the jurisdiction of any potential suit because that is where the alleged crime was committed. A lawsuit has nothing to do with a criminal act, and I have no clue what she is referring to. A suit could be in the state Jessie was living in at the time this all started, but most likely would be in the state where the alleged injury occurred, which would be California. 2, the types of legal claims, or torts, Gabbie mentions considering have a 2-year statute of limitations in California and 4 in Florida, so that is all moot because it is 2 to 4 years too late to sue. California does not have a claim for tortious interference. I hope I'm saying that right. California has intentional interference with contractual relations. Gabbie has not alleged that Jessie caused a breach of any specific contract, so that would not apply. Florida has tortious. I feel so uncomfortable saying it. Tortious? Tortoise. I don't know. That word. Interference, but Jessie would need to be a third party in a business contract of Gabbie's, and next screenshot. I would have had to disrupt that contract. Number 4, pretending it wasn't too late and California had a tortious interference action available that didn't require any element of contracting between them, it would still be impossible to win for Gabbie even if everything she is claiming were true. The legal burden of proof would be on her to prove that Jessie is definitively the cause of substantial economic damage and that Jessie did whatever she did with the intent to cause that damage. Given all the other scandals, the controversial topics Gabbie covers, and the naturally irregular income of her career field, proving that would be legally impossible. 5. No lawyer in the world would let their client participate in this type of call or make any further statements on the situation, Jessie, or rape in general. Number 6. When Gabbie said that Jessie did not herself label her as a rape apologist, which is not an actionable offense, but is what Gabbie claims caused the ad issues that led to financial damage, but that it was Jessie's fans that did, that in and of itself means Gabbie would lose a lawsuit against Jessie. Number 7. This whole call would not even happen. Legally, if Gabbie was represented by counsel, Jessie would be obligated to direct all communication through the attorney. Number 8, she eventually states that she has not had any actual intention to sue and simply has been consulting lawyers. Ethics rules do not permit lawyers to provide legal advice on a specific case in a consult setting. That advice would only be permitted if the lawyer was retained. Number 9, whether tweets were deleted or altered, etc., is irrelevant because the official records from Twitter would get subpoenaed showing the accurate history. Gabbie did enough research on general laws to maybe temporarily scare or convince the average Joe, but any attorney would see through this immediately. Jessie, I haven't come across your channel yet. I only saw this because a friend asked me to listen. When I came forward about my rapist, years before I even imagined a career in law, he sued me for defamation. Oh my lord. He did not win, but from the first second of it, it was far. Oh, and that's where the end. But I'll go after the stream is over and read the rest of your comment. Annie, that is horrifying. I am so sorry that you went through that. I also appreciate you giving... Torshush. Torshush. Okay. Guys, my apologies. But thank you, Annie, so much for sending all of that info in. Again, as somebody who's not in the law field in the slightest, that is such important information to have. Like, because we can all say, like, oh, maybe you did, maybe you didn't consult with a lawyer, who knows? But you, like, pointing all of that out, especially the fact that, like, if she had an attorney, they would not let her make this call. It's like, yeah, that makes sense that an attorney wouldn't let her do that. Plus, like, what you were saying about how, oh my gosh, how, like, they wouldn't be able to give her specific advice on the case unless they had been hired by her. That makes so much sense. Oh my goodness. And then Emily said, it's like Emily Artful said, tend and befriend abuse. Manipulative people know how to hit you where and when it hurts. Yeah, like that totally tracks with this. Somebody is unpredictable, aggressive, overbearing, and they're reaching out to you. And so you think like, okay, if I ignore them, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? Are they going to call me? Are they going to blow my phone up? Are they going to post about me or like go to my friends? If I do respond, how do I do it? How do I do it without making them mad? Because I'm not going to say what I really want to say. I'm just going to try and diffuse the situation. And then after that, she can block her. Yeah, I see a few people thanking Annie. Everybody say thank you, Annie, for sending that information in. We really appreciate it. Atana C. Rosales said, and she still won't sign an NDA because what if people ask? Why can't she talk about this whole experience that totally didn't happen to her but is all about her? Right? It's just wild to me that you would ask somebody to sign that and say, like, oh, you can never talk about me again, which is so broad. Like, I think it would have to be a very specific thing. Let me know if anybody else knows better, but, like, I feel like anytime I've heard an NDA come up, it's been about, like, a specific situation where you get a job maybe for a celebrity and you say, you know, anything you learn or anything you hear about me, about my personal life, while you're employed by me, you can't talk about. Or even, I've been looking into, okay, this is such a side note, but I listened to the Sinisterhood podcast, and they were talking about Erica Jane and her husband Tom and how they're getting sued, and they, like, went over kind of a Real Housewives overview. And then on Saturday, I was at my parents' house, and my sister was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and she's telling me all the stuff about it, and so I've watched the entire 10th season since then. And All In by Teddy Mellencamp, that diet program where you have to sign an NDA before they'll take you on as a client. So like that's a specific thing. Very interesting. I've been learning a lot about it, but I don't think you can just say like you can't ever talk about me. Does that include liking tweets? Does that include about privately speaking to somebody about you? Does that include responding to certain things or what topics you can cover in your videos? I don't know. But it's just very interesting that she wants to still be able to talk about it, but Jessie can't. And also very interesting that Gabbie recorded her commentary on the phone call back in March. Before any of this was, before Jessie showed any of those videos, like of the phone call, before her series started. And she's talking about, oh, I gave Jessie 2 parts because she deserves them. When you've really caused Jessie a lot of pain. And I get it, like, Gabbie was probably hurt by some of the things that Jessie did too. But make it about that. Like, don't make it about her assault. If you want to call Jessie out for other things, go ahead. That's fine. But you can't get mad at somebody for not wanting to be your friend and not wanting to have to deal with you or be around you or talk to you. Because you're now claiming, I never publicly bashed you. I've always supported you. And then when people bring that up, like, being like, oh, well, I just didn't know at the time. No. How would you not know? How would you not know what the TMZ article was about when you were making those tweets? About what thousands of women lie every day. Audrey said Gabbie has absolutely no legal leg to stand on. Sounds like it. But that's kind of all I thought about the phone call and about the videos. I find it very interesting that Gabbie has not posted since because she was posting like 1 video per day. Somebody commented on one of Gabbie's recent videos that I was rewatching for this, being like, oh, I bet you Gabbie's reworking that entire series because she has been exposed. Because Jessie put out a video, it was like an hour and a half, going over pretty much everything in Gabbie's video and like showing screenshots to back up what she was saying that I paused and read, and I was like, this actually does back up what you're saying, which shouldn't be a surprise. But when you watch Gabbie so much, you see the screenshots that Gabbie puts up and they don't match what she's saying at all. They don't prove her point. And then Jessie comes in and is like, logically they match, and that's how it should be. But it's still nice to see when you've watched Gabbie for so long. Audrey said, it's just like Joey said, just because someone was once your friend doesn't mean they are contractually obligated to never speak critically about you. Exactly. Like, if Jessie wants to like mean tweets about you, okay, you're a public figure, right? And just because you're a public figure, like, I'm sure it makes it more impactful to your life because so many more people are seeing it since you're both, you both have a large following. So I'm sure it makes it more impactful and more hurtful than if it was just an average Joe, like one of us, doing it. But you still have to be okay with that because it's not against the law. If somebody doesn't like you, they have every right to like shady tweets. So, yeah, like I said, though, that was the only thing really that I had about that phone call and the series. If you guys want, I can pull up, Cody Rants put up a thread of all those tweets that Curtis deleted. If you want me to read them to you, they're vile and disgusting. But if you don't have Twitter, let me know. Do a 1 if you want me to read them. Do a 2 if you're not interested because he's not worth hearing out. So 1 if you want me to read Curtis's tweets. 2 if you're like, skip them. B, just skip them. Nessa said, like, do you only want friends who are too scared to go against you? Probably. Alright, I got 2 1s. Oh! The other thing that YouTube added was a poll feature. And I meant to, when I started, put up a poll of, like, should I buy Frenemies merch? Yes or no? Okay, y'all want it? Oh, some people don't. I'll wait a little bit. Okay. So majority is 1. Y'all want to hear him. Olive Thunderbird said, I mean, he's not worth hearing out, but I want to know exactly who Gabbie is supporting. Yep. All right, where's my Twitter? I put Twitter, like, so, side note, again, I don't know the last time I tweeted. It was before we got the kids, because I was like, I'm getting, like, as weird as it sounds, I feel like once you start tweeting, it's like every thought you have, you feel like is worthy of being heard and, like, going on the internet, and I'm like, slow down, B, you're not that important. So I've made an active effort to not tweet and not respond, but I still have Twitter. It's just on, like, the back page of my phone, so I can keep up with stuff like this. So I feel bad if you're following me on Twitter, or, like, you send me a DM. I don't check any of that. I don't engage. Just know I'm not ignoring you if you send me anything or tag me in anything. Okay, so yeah, Cody Rants said, added all of Curtis Lepore's deleted tweets from earlier today on my Google Drive. If anyone needs them, here you go. They're also in the drive on my pinned tweet. Credit to Cody. That's very helpful to have these. Alexis said, I love your background, BTW. Thank you. I wish this wasn't here, but we had to downsize, and Rick and I had to combine our leisure rooms when we got the kids, so I have one desk for work and for YouTube. Alright, so, oh, this will be easier. It just, like, popped up on my computer. It'll be easier to read up here. So, let me open these. Alright, let's get started. Curtis Lepore. Jessie and Gabby, don't y'all have anything better to do? I don't use social media for a career anymore. This is straight up slander. What's done is done. It's in the past. I'm not gonna... Oh, sorry. I should put up a trigger warning. There's talk of, like, self-harm, and then, obviously, this is centered around Jessie's assault, so... Trigger warning for that. What's done is done. It's in the past. I'm not going to kill myself, and I'm not going to jail either. Sorry to disappoint y'all. I'm not going to kill myself. All caps. She didn't call me for help. She said she missed me and wanted to see me and stay over my place. I would never, ever take advantage of anyone, ever. She offered... What? I would never, ever take advantage of anyone, ever. Offered to take her to hospital. She told me, no, I'm fine. Then she made out with me, grabbed my crotch. I stopped when she said stop. So how'd you rape her then? How did you rape her if you would never take advantage of anybody? What is that? No. I think my father-in-law's here. Unless it's somebody for our neighbor. I don't know. Anyway. Another tweet from Curtis. What's the best way to kill myself? A lot of people have been telling me lately I should. Need some ideas, guys. And then somebody else responded and said, there's in no way you're a victim of any of this. It was brought up by a vengeful girl, Gabby. Be mad at Gabby all you want, but Jessie has the right to tell people to not use her story for their own gain. And if that involves telling the story of that night, you've no leg to stand on. He said they both have been going back and forth about it since 2019. Maybe you guys should leave Gabby alone then. Why is that my responsibility? You know how many hundreds of influencers made content with me after the fact? Why after one that just called me once? Here's another thing. Gabby said, I was the only friend who stood by Jessie. I was so alone. I was the only friend who defended her, and people didn't want to with me. Girl, no, you weren't. First of all, and second of all, what a martyr. What a martyr you are for not wanting for not being friends with Curtis, for taking Jessie's side. Like the saint of the year, right? I mean, I usually try and be fair and like kind and try and look at things from both sides, but what do you mean? I was the only friend who stuck by her. But then in the phone call you say, what, I can't have friends? I can't have friends, Jessie? I can't be friends with his friends? A literal joke. A literal joke. Oh, and another thing in his tweets, so the end of that tweet is, why go after one that just called me once? Curtis is a liar. I don't know. Some people are speculating that that Gabbie called him. Gabbie asked to hear his side. I don't know. I don't trust a word that comes out of either of their mouths. I was minding my own business. I don't have to private my life. I'm just a person same as you, but you're here with nothing better to do. Somebody said, obviously you've never been on the other side of SA. Move on, dude. That's for breakups. You can't just move on from a traumatic event. No matter how healed you think you are, that pain and fear stays with you for the rest of your life. It just takes one little thing to trigger it. And Curtis said, she's a YouTuber that mostly gets views talking about me. I'll leave it at that. She mostly gets views. First of all, editing is like her main source of income from what Jessie said. She barely posts on YouTube. So, like, debunking that right there. And honestly, like, if there were ever a question about this, I kind of... Let's go to YouTube and see Jessie's most recent videos. Gabbie Hanna will never stop. Mini story time, chatting about life, mukbang. I watched that video. It was mostly about her move and her son. Noah update and answering your pregnancy questions. I'm pregnant with our rainbow baby. Imagine going through all this while you are pregnant after having a miscarriage. The unsolved death of Emily Meng. Testing viral TikTok recipes. Tipsy Q&A, let's catch up. I had a miscarriage at 14 weeks. My story. I'm pregnant again. Attempting to cook with my husband. Answering relationship questions. My Georgia house tour. And that goes back to last year. Those are what her videos are about. So what do you mean she mostly gets views talking about me? Okay. Curtis says, I was and I am. I do like to consume social media too, but to do that with people flooding my DMs and comments telling me I should die, even having people say, I hope you have a daughter that gets raped. If anybody said that, that is disgusting. That is crossing a line. I don't care how vile somebody is. You do not. First of all, I disagree with telling anybody to kill themselves. Like, for me, that's crossing a line. But especially saying, I hope you have a daughter that gets raped. It is the internet. I wouldn't put it past specific people, but like we all know that that's not acceptable. That's not okay for people to say. Next one is, at this point, I'm ready for her next video. Imagine if she makes more. I'm always going to have people like you come at me. Cool, but when I talk, people are going to come at her too. Nobody wants that. The louder y'all are, the louder I'll be. I've got nothing to lose. Fly with who? Who cares? I'm not doing a Pepsi brand deal anytime soon, and I'm not doing any of this for clout either. My name is cleared. Legally, I am not a rapist. I am not a convicted felon or sex offender either. Jessie can spread... Because you agreed to a plea deal, dude. Like, why does an innocent person take a plea deal? I mean, I get there are certain instances where maybe somebody's in like a disadvantaged position and the police tell them, oh, hey, if you sign this, you'll get to go home, and it's actually a plea deal, and then they, end up getting locked up. I'm hoping those are few and far between. But I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was like the West Memphis 3 case where one of the kids just wanted to go home and he signed a plea, like not fully understanding what it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I get there are certain situations where somebody who's in a disadvantaged position would do that because they're being misled. Curtis Lepore, you are not one of those people. You signed it because you did not. Yeah, there we go. Saya said yes. Why would a rich white man take a plea deal? Why would an innocent rich white man take a plea deal? Question of the day. Like, I can't find a logical answer. Can you? Brittany T said the Central Park 5. Gotcha. And Nessa said, you signed a plea deal, you absolute buffoon. Right, he wants to get technical. I'm not a convicted felon or sex offender. Okay, are you innocent? Did you do it? Like, oh, jeez. Jessie can spread as many lies she wants to. I am still going to be free to do whatever I want and say whatever I want. Public opinion of me doesn't matter. Reminder, if you weren't there, you really don't have anything to say. I have my truth and she has hers. At first I was silenced, but I've been able to speak freely about it now for some time. So honestly, the more she talks about it, the more I will too. Somebody said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And he said, I don't want to. Maybe you should move on too. I'm just so enraged because, like, not only does he know that he assaulted her, he straight up doesn't care. Like, he literally does not feel bad about it at all. The same person said, well, I guess there's nothing for you to plead guilty for then. Oh, wait. And he's all read the statement. So ridiculous. And then somebody said, you don't get to decide if you're a rapist or not. It's not your trauma, it's hers. Someone's clearly too self-centered to realize that, like most rapists are. And Curtis said, okay, if she's gone through such a trauma, why keep talking about it over and over? Isn't it triggering? Isn't it awful to keep bringing up with monetized vids on YouTube? I want victims of SA to come forward and speak their truth, but this isn't gossip either. Yes! Of course it's triggering. Of course it's traumatizing. But it keeps getting brought up anyway. I don't think Jessie's sitting here being like, I can't wait until my next time I get to mention Curtis on the internet. No, it's because people are bringing it up. And I know it's kind of ironic because I'm sitting here talking about it myself. But, like, people keep bringing it up. And I do kind of wish... Like, I get that people want to call Gabbie out for the fact that she's like, I never made tweets like that. And she did. It's a lie. It's annoying. But also, I kind of wish that it wouldn't get brought up so much. Because I'm sure it is incredibly hard for her to have to, like, talk about it and defend herself. I just hope she knows that, like, so many of us support her. And so many of us are like, we believe you. Like, we have your back. We know that you're not lying about this thing. Ugh. Yeah, so I said Curtis had a field day harassing her back in 2014. Jessie was getting death threats and he didn't care. Emily said she had a concussion. She could not consent. Nessa said, yes, let's tell a woman who you assaulted she needs to move on. Atana C. Rosales said, because he is a monster and people who still support him or collaborate with him knowing what he did are awful. Kaz said, Gabbie Hanna is the one bringing it up. Way to drag Jessie through the mud. Oh, the other thing is somebody said, it's proof that doing what you did was at the very least crappy behavior and not what good guys do. But lack of consent equals rape. So, and Curtis said, this is not proof of anything. She responded with, okay, so if you were unsure if she was awake or asleep, why not? Oh, I don't know. Find out, LMAO, and then ask if she wants to take it further. Consent can be revoked at any time, even during the act. And he said, I agree. It was dark. She was moving and even helped kick off her pants. Then she herself turned over, laid on her back, and opened... I didn't read all these. I'm not going to read that next sentence because it's vile and disgusting. Now I agree, this is not verbal consent, but I truly believed that she was consciously consenting at that time. You ever done something when you're like half asleep? Have you ever had like a partner wake you up when you're asleep on the couch and say like, hey, do you want to come to the bed? And like you help them get to the bedroom and like tuck them in, and yeah, they're walking themselves to the bedroom, but they're not fully awake. You ever had something like that happen? Or you ever like handed somebody something when you were half asleep? How like stuff like that can happen, but that doesn't mean you're awake, and that doesn't mean you're consenting, especially if you've had a head injury. Sona said, I just want to know if anyone has told Gabbie Hanna besides Jessie and Joey and those people, like family members, have told Gabbie that what she's doing is wrong. I don't know, man. I mean, like, you would think that people in your real life would be straight up with you and be like, come on, like, this is not the way to do it. But I don't know. Yeah. Kaz said, oh my god. All of Thunderbird said, oh my gosh. Audrey said a literal POS. Samantha, this is disgusting. Like, why would he do this? I almost just lost my composure there. Because, like, what the... Sorry, I try not... You guys know, I try not to swear on camera. I try not to swear on streams. But, like... What the heck, dude? Why would you tweet something like that? That is horrifying. Ugh. That's so bad. Okay. Do you guys want to hear the rest of them? Because, I mean, I can read them. I'm good. I'm composed. I did not read all of them before I, like... Because earlier I saw Cody posted about it, and I read a few. I was like, wow, what a trash human being, or trash things to say. And so I was like, this might be good to hear. Okay, y'all are saying no. We're done with the tweets. Okay. But yeah, Cody Rants has them up, so go to their thread if you want, or go to their Twitter if you want to read the rest. I mean, I personally wouldn't put myself through that, but... We're done with that. Alright, we're all good? We're all good? Okay, we're all good. Last thing, this is mostly for people who don't have Twitter. Jessie did put out a statement. If you would like, if you don't have a Twitter and you would like, I can read it, but it's publicly available. Give me a 1 if you want me to read Jessie's full statement that came out today. Give me a 2 if you would not. Kaz said, why anyone is giving Lepore the time of day is an effing joke. He's guilty. He was charged. It happened. I don't know. Like, I don't understand how is, like, a logical or decent human being. You're like, yeah, let me hear Curtis out. Okay, we're getting lots of 1s. I will warn you, it's a statement on her assault, so just be ready. The thing is, like, when I read her statement today, obviously it was upsetting because it's the statement of somebody, like, how they got assaulted, but thinking about the fact that she has never publicly shared these details, and essentially because of Gabbie Hanna, she has to. She's... Because of Gabbie Hanna and Curtis Lepore, she has to share the details of one of the most disgusting, brutal things that has ever happened to her. But, it's like Emily said, let's listen to our girl Jessie. Let's give her the airtime instead. I mean, my God. Oh, where did it go? Did she delete it? I should have taken a screenshot. Oh, no. I mean, no, I shouldn't have, because if she deleted it, obviously there's a reason for it. Let me take that back. Yeah, I think it's gone. It was on Twitter. Yeah, it was on Twitter. I read it earlier, but it's gone now, so I'm not gonna keep looking for it because if she deleted it, there's obviously a reason. If it was something like incriminating on somebody else, like when I went over the Rachel Hollis deleted post, I'm like, Rachel, girl, you deserve to have these out here. But with Jessie, if she deleted it, you know, I want to respect that and not look for it, because I'm sure people have screenshots, but let's just respect her in this one thing, that she's decided should not be private, so. Emily said, I found out recently he was 30 when Jessie was 19. No. Was he really? What a creep. This dude, like... Let's see. Curtis Lepore. He's 38 years old. What a man-child. Are you kidding me? Like a big diaper king. What the heck, dude? JessiSmiles is... Not that Jessie. And Jessie's 27. That just adds a whole nother layer of horrifying. Tonio Sim said, I just wanted to say you remind me of Brittany from the season of Big Brother. Is Brittany the best player? Is it a game? Or is it just, I don't know. Is Brittany awesome? Nessa said, imagine pushing 40 behaving like this. Ew. I can't. Emily said, dang, I want to cry for Jessie. This has to be horrible to go through. I can't imagine the rush of emotions this is bringing back. I really can't either. I mean, not only the age gap is horrifying to me, but like an adult man acting like this, and I know that adults act like this all the time, like it shouldn't be a surprise to me, but my baseline is just like expecting people to be decent humans who just want to do what they want to do and not hurt anybody. So the fact that like you're 38 and this is how you're choosing to behave after assaulting your girlfriend who's like 10 years younger than you. Cool. Yeah, I remember that, Courtney. Courtney said he pretty much pressured her into a relationship, too. Like, they were at a Vine event, and he bombarded her with a Be My Girlfriend announcement in front of a crowd, and she felt she had to say yes. That is just so weird. So weird. But, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and call it here on the conversation. I truly hope Jessie is doing okay. I cannot imagine the fear and stress of going through all of this while pregnant with your rainbow baby. I mean, it's got to be terrifying. I've never been pregnant, but I feel like you have to be wondering every day of like, and I've especially never been pregnant with a rainbow baby, but like, is this one going to be healthy? Is this one going to make it? Am I doing anything that's contributing to this? Like, the stress is bad for the baby. So, if you pray, maybe send a prayer to Jessie. If you believe in energetics, maybe send her some good energy, some love and light with all sincerity that you have in you. Maybe just, like, leave a nice comment on her Twitter. Do something nice for her. Because I know that she has a million people who love and support her and subscribe to her, so she knows that she has that support. But I think the more she sees it, maybe the more she'll feel it if we're intentional about giving it to her. So maybe consider doing that. If anybody else has anything, like any final comments they want to put in the wrap up, feel free. Also, I'm like pretty close to 10,000 subscribers. So if any of y'all are watching and you like the live and you like hanging out and you're not subscribed, maybe consider subscribing. I wrote like a long time ago, at the beginning of 2020 it was. At the beginning of 2020, I wrote out like different subscriber milestones, and I was like, I'm so thankful for this many subscribers because I'm so grateful I did this or I bought myself this. And so for 10,000, it's a pair of boots, and I got it. I got the boots. They're under my bed, but like getting the kids, God love them. I love them. They're amazing. They're precious. They're adorable. They are so sweet. But obviously they took away from my YouTube time and kind of slowed me down. So they've just been under my bed for months. I'd like to take them out at some point. So if you could subscribe, let's get to 10,000. That would be very cool. But Courtney said, I just hope she blocks and mutes everyone that's bringing this up to hurt her, and also she has a large support system to help her at this time. For sure. I mean, I know Nassim is there for her. I know her brother's there for her. Yeah, I hope she's doing okay. I hope she's, I mean, I don't know how this couldn't affect you, but I hope she's doing whatever she needs to do to take care of herself. Emily said, I'm sending all my love to Jessie and her baby tonight. Absolutely. Nessa said, you deserve 10K and more. Really love your content. Thank you. That's so nice. I mean, it's very cool. Like, I feel like 10K is a very cool milestone. I've appreciated every single milestone and every single subscriber. It just feels cool to know that there are, like, other people who are kind of, even if we don't agree on everything, we're kind of on the same mentality and, like, we vibe together. It's very cool. But I feel like 10K is like, wow, that's a number I never thought I would see. That would be wild. The Newton Life said, I must have missed you getting kids. I don't know the situation, but enjoy them. Kids make life wonderful. Yeah, I did a video about it. My husband and I are doing kinship foster care. So we've got a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old that are staying with us right now. And I love them. They're very sweet and very cute, but they take a lot of energy. They require a lot of attention, and they deserve every drop that they get. Emily said, would subscribe twice if I could. I had fun tonight chatting and listening to y'all. Everyone have a good night. Yes. I'm thankful for everybody who joined in, hung out. Those tweets were brutal, but I appreciate everybody being in the chat, contributing, and just hanging out with me. Countman Listen said, thanks, B. Can't wait for you to reach 10K. A horrible event for Jessie, but I'm glad people are coming out in support of her. For sure. Sona said, I'm new. I just joined today, and I love your content. We'll be subscribing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that you got to make it to a live. Dumb Idiot said, I haven't been able to watch in a while. I've been here since Crafty Crimes. I missed it. Oh my gosh, what a throwback that is. Wow. That's wild to me. Like, I know every time I see Danielle, I'm like, oh my god, Danielle's still here, because I think Danielle gave me my first ever comment on YouTube. I think. Pretty sure. But so just like seeing people who go that far back is really cool. Thanks for hanging out and sticking with me through everything. But that's all I've got. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. As has become a bit of a habit, on Sunday I will put up a post on the community tab where you can leave suggestions for content that you would like me to cover in a live stream throughout the week. Feel free to go back, add stuff, do whatever, and then whatever gets like the most comments, like in this case it was Jessie and Gabby, whatever gets the most suggested, I guess is the right way to say it, is what we'll talk about. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.